Now, other interesting cultural news, you have Porsche going woke, quote unquote. Now, they actually had a new commercial, and they took the Jesus out of the commercial. I kid you not. Now, Porsche breaks my heart. I still drive a Honda, although I still love my Honda. It's got 3 pedals. Someday I'd like to afford a Porsche because they're the last car company dedicated to making a vehicle with 3 pedals, also known as a stick shift. Every other sports car has acquiesced to the boring EV or automatic transmission. That includes Lamborghini, Ferrari, Lotus, even. The Corvette is now automatic only or an EV. The Camaro's dead. That's going to be an EV with 4 doors, apparently. The Challenger's going to be an EV. The Charger's going to be an EV. All the great stick shifts. There's so many of acquiesced to boring technology. But Porsche listened to the consumers, which is a rare thing in and of itself, and they said we were going to make a stick shift as long as possible for the 911 in particular. Now, historically speaking, culturally speaking, the Porsche 911 is the pinnacle of their company. It's what they're known for. Granted, in terms of volume of sales, they sell more SUVs because the demographics of the United States has changed and more people want the SUV convenience. So you look at most car companies, that's what they're doing. But the pinnacle of their brand, the soul of the company, is the 911. There's such a cultural following around that vehicle. And it's admirable how much engineering they put into it. You can customize it as well however you want. It might cost you an arm and a leg, but if you want to have a specific color of stitching, you can get that. Very customizable, great customer experience, and a lot of people are saying they blew it. Now, this specifically is regarding to an advertisement where they released it celebrating the 60 years of their iconic 911 sports car, and it was going along the mountains of Portugal. Now, in terms of what they got rid of, they airbrushed out an iconic landmark of the area. The landmark is known as the Cristo Rey landmark, famous Cristo Rey, and there's a landmark over in Libsyn. And it's one of those things where it's not a small thing to get rid of. It has a huge platform. I don't mean that just on social media, but this statue of Jesus is on a 75-foot concrete platform. A giant pillar, basically, with Jesus on top. That is, and they just, even is more moronic, marketing-wise, they just took the top off. So you still see the tower, but now there's no Jesus. And it's just ridiculous. Now, the statue was actually set up in the 1950s to express gratitude that Portugal survived the horrors of World War II while the country remained officially neutral. And he depicts Christ with his arms raised, blessing the city of Libsyn. It would be almost as abhorrent as if you were to remove the Sears Tower from the Chicago landscape. Yes, I said Sears. It's not the Willis Tower. It'll be the Sears Tower forever because that's who made the tower. The Sears Company, which used to be the pinnacle until they had many business blunders. Subsequently, they're a shell company now. But thankfully, it looks like some people are starting to get a little bit more involved, culturally speaking. And Porsche, the amount of comments on the YouTube about this specific advertisement was so viscerally against Porsche, they deleted it. So, I don't know if the youth use the term ratio on the YouTube, but it's subsequently ratioed on the YouTube in terms of more people had a negative experience or negative comment than an actual positive comment. And it's one of those things where you almost have to try to mess up this bad. In terms of making a commercial celebrating your 60 years of heritage, really a good, more prudent business idea would be maybe have every 10 years, whatever generations there are for the Porsches where they change the body style, just have someone driving that vehicle in another country and don't bastardize the landscapes or the historical landmarks that people know, love, and remember. And I can't help but think it's the one category that you're still allowed to make fun of is Christians, Catholics. It's as cliche as old as time. Even when I was in high school, every other religion, if you're going to make a joke about them, you get suspended, you get in trouble. But it's the one thing that mainstream media and everyone is like, oh yeah, it's okay to crap on them. That religion's okay to be ignorant of. It's okay to discriminate against that group of people, which I find morally vacuous and disgusting. And it's also cliche, because all the jokes have been done by now. But it's also one of those things where conservatives buy stuff too. And they're starting to get more vocal, finally, about their cultural and political ideologies, and they're going to start supporting businesses who do not alienate them. In this commercial, specifically is alienating them. Now, they're always using the cliche of, we don't want to get involved in religion. We don't want to take a side. And yet, they'll have plenty of commercials glorifying other religions. So, it's really just this one religion because they're worried that there'll be some backlash against them. Because politically speaking, people, again, on average, on the left, much more politically active, and they will maybe boycott or destroy your brand with angry tweets. So, some of those issues where one of the most iconic brands in history, and it's certainly not their biggest faux pas, culturally speaking, but hopefully they'll either put the statue back in, hopefully they'll actually acknowledge they made a mistake. Because guess what? Conservatives buy Porsches too. It's one of those things where, why alienate anyone when you make a vehicle designed for everyone? In fact, I would argue more conservatives buy them just because they love internal combustion engines. It's one of those fascinating things, but that perhaps will be the business blunder of the week. Right now, it's just the news. I want to see how much it affects their business fiscally wise. Are they going to have people canceling orders? Will there be a boycott? I would say it's much more difficult to boycott a vehicle since it's more sporadic. Most people, like my parents still drive a 20-year-old Honda, bulletproof cars, by the way. But in terms of Bud Light, you buy that maybe once a week, so you could see that boycott. But Porsches, maybe if you're really lucky, you might get one in your lifetime, going to the dealership to buy new. And it's a very long sales cycle, obviously. It's years. So it'll be interesting to see, do they see any fiscal ramifications of this, or does boycott have any teeth to it? It'll be interesting to see, but time shall tell. Thank you, everyone, again, for taking the time to tune in. Really want to appreciate you clicking that subscribe button. Trying to get to 3,000 subscribers by the end of the month. We greatly appreciate it. Also, don't forget to take the time to like as well as comment. Those also greatly appreciate. Really make the content a lot better as we appreciate the critical feedback. Also, don't forget to tell your family, tell your friends, tell your coworkers, heck, tell your enemies, tell anyone and everyone to stay safe and fight the good fight.